Hey y'all, it's Desiree and I'm back with another video. And for this video, God is saying that consistent outpour is coming. I've been hearing the word locomotion time and time again in locomotive. And I would always think of a train. And the definition of locomotion is an act or the power of moving from place to place, travel. The definition of a locomotive is a powered rail vehicle used for pulling trains. Another definition is a self-propelled vehicle that runs on rails and is used for moving railroad cars. Then on my way back home, I was passing through like a rural area and I seen railroad tracks, and on one side there was a train that wasn't moving, and on the other side there was a train that was moving, but it was moving very slowly. And God asked me, what do you think would happen if you stood in front of that train? Or what do you think would happen if there was a car in front of that train, even though it's moving very slowly? And I said, well, it would run me over, or it would damage that car. Essentially it would push that car out the way. Anything that gets in the way of that train is going to get ran over. And God is saying today that because of your locomotion, because of your nonstop movement, because of your ability to move from one place to another, because you have went everywhere that He has sent you, self-propelled, needing no incentive, there is a consistent outpour. God has been showing me the number 1028 time and time again, and the Hebrew Strong's meaning of 1028 is a heavy rain, a wetting. I was just sitting on this word a couple of days ago, talking to God, thinking out loud, and I went to pray. And I can't remember what I said specifically, but next thing you know, there was a huge gust of wind and it just started pouring down, raining. And when I saw that, I immediately thought of 1028, a heavy rain. This is not a word where there should be any confusion whether or not it's for you. This word is for those who know that they have been pressing in, who know that they have been diligently seeking the Most High, going after their purpose, going after His will for their life. God sees you as a train, unable to be stopped, unable to be delayed, unable to be hindered, a force to be reckoned with. And I feel that for some of you, you have been feeling that things have been moving so slowly in the physical. In the physical, all you saw was a slow moving train that didn't appear to have much speed. But in the spirit, God says you have covered plenty ground. And your consistent movement has brought you consistent outpour. And when God begins to release heavy rain over your life, there will be no doubt about it. I remember last year I was about to get on a flight and God said to me, it's not until you come to a complete stop that you realize just how fast you were going. And I thought about how when you're in an airplane, it feels like you are moving so slow. Or even when you are on the ground and you look up in the sky and you see an airplane, it appears to be moving so slow. But the closer that airplane gets to land, the closer that it gets to touching that tarmac, the more you're able to perceive just how fast that airplane was truly moving. Then when it touches the ground and begins to come to a complete stop, there's no doubt about it. That's when you truly begin to feel the weight of that thing. You truly begin to feel not only the weight of the plane, but the weight of the environment around it. And God says that for a lot of you, this is the place that you are in spiritually. You're coming to a halt. Everything is coming to a stop. Just like that train that I saw was moving at a very slow speed, things are beginning to come to a complete stop. And now you will be able to understand just how hard you really been going, just how diligent you've been, persistent, consistent, persevering. And I hear God saying, wait a minute, just give it a moment. Let everything catch up with you. Sometimes you can board a plane and it departs at the correct time, yet arrive at your destination sooner than expected. And then people will not let you off that plane. Because there's an appointed time assigned to that arrival. There's an appointed time assigned to that destination. And God says, yes, you have exceeded my expectations, but there is an appointed time. You didn't even understand just how fast you were moving, just how fast you were going, and you arrived earlier than expected. But there is still an appointed time. And I hear this right now in my spirit for somebody. You are not waiting to get blessed. You are waiting to receive what is owed to you. It will very well bless you, but this is what is owed to you. Before God gets to the job well done blessings, the I'm so proud of you blessings, the prizes, the rewards, you need to receive what is owed to you. God is releasing a heavy outpour of what is owed to you, of all the things that have been stored, all the things that you thought that you had been robbed of, all the things that you had to sacrifice. You thought that you were walking around empty-handed, not realizing you have been collecting this entire time. You have been carrying precious cargo the entire time. You thought that when it left your hands, you'd never see it again. You got so used to the enemy taking. You got so used to having to just give it up. You ain't even get mad no more. You didn't even get in your feelings no more. But unbeknownst to you, you have been carrying around precious cargo. Some of you have been so heavy and so burdened, and you thought it was warfare, and it's been the precious cargo. It's been every sacrifice, every tucked away dream, every tucked away desire, those dreams and desires that you put on the back burner saying, but God, this about your will. Those dreams and desires that you thought that you were just going to have to count as a loss. As if God is not the one who gave them to you in the first place. There is so much that you thought was just casted away. There is so much that you thought was just spiritually discarded. Things you could feel canceled in the spirit before they even got time to touch the physical. But you're about to see why they call him Redeemer. You're about to see why Joseph named one of his sons Manasseh. God has made me forget entirely my troubles and my father's house. God is restoring you not only for what you've lost, but for where you've been. Not just what you lost, but what you had to go through, what you had to endure, and what you had to carry. I need somebody to hear me today, okay? When God begins to release what he has stored up for such a time as this over your life, it is going to be non-stop. It is going to be ever-flowing. And I hear God saying, you've been consistent, so now I will show myself consistent. That's why I say, this is not just a job well done, I love you, I'm so proud of you blessing. No, ma'am. This is for God's name's sake. When it comes to this release, God's name is on the line. When it comes to this outpour, God's name is on the line. When it comes to how God is about to reach out and touch you, his name is on the line. This ain't no cutesy tootsie, just fly by night type of situation. No. A consistent outpour because you have been consistent. And the word says that a laborer is worthy of his wages. And the payment is coming in the form of heavy rain. And just like in the natural, before it rains, there's always a sign. The sky starts to darken up, the temperature suddenly drops, and you know it's about to rain, but there's nothing that indicates the specific time that that rain will be released. And God is saying that you're going to know that he's about to release the heavy rain when you begin to see the signs, physical signs. And just like God understands that he has to water the earth, God understands that he has to release this outpour over you. Consistent can be defined as acting or done in the same way over time, especially so as to be fair or accurate. God is not only releasing outpour over your life, he's releasing it consistently as to be fair, as to be just, as to be righteous, as to be faithful. God says you need a wedding. And I feel on my spirit that the way that God is going to release in your life, you're not even going to be able to collect it all. You're going to struggle to carry it all. You're going to struggle to know what to do with it all. You're not going to have a choice but to give it away. You're not going to have a choice but to be generous because you won't be able to steward it all. He had me to look up, why do plants need water? And as I was looking it up, I ran across, why do plants survive without water? And it says to survive in drought conditions, plants need to decrease transpiration to limit their water loss. And God is saying through that you have been in a drought. And I hear the word conservation. Look what you have achieved while you have been under conservation. Look what you have achieved in drought conditions. What will you then be able to achieve once you have all that you need? Once God releases all that He has for you. It says that plants need water in order to produce their own food. A wedding is not just needed, it's required. I know a lot of you can perceive that you are being brought to a place of complete stillness. You may feel like you are not able to produce how you were once able to produce. You can feel the pressure of that water loss. But God says that you will begin to produce again because He's releasing a consistent outpour. And just like you found yourself in a wilderness season saying, does this ever end? When do I catch a break? When does this situation come to a close? When does things come to a stop? When you begin to pick up speed again, when you begin to move again, when you self-propel again, you will not stop. It will not cease. You are the locomotive and God is the railroad tracks. It's your diligence, it's your drive that gets you there. It's the tracks that show you the direction. It's the tracks that provide the way. You're not going to have to figure it out. He's not going to just drop all of these things in your lap and say, now have your way. He's going to show you what to do. He's going to show you how to steward these things. And it won't be burdensome. It says that locomotive engineers, the ones who drive the train, actually don't drive it at all. They are only in there to monitor the speed, air pressure, battery use, and other instruments to ensure that it runs smoothly. This is a sit back and watch type of season. It's the tracks that are doing all the work, essentially. All that train has to do is move. All that train has to do is keep speed. You have remained consistent, and God will show Himself as consistent.